Hey, what's going on, everybody? I just wanted to just check in with you guys and make a video today about something that I feel is very, very important for all of us to understand and know. Okay. A little bit of house cleaning first. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can get all notifications when I make videos and I try to make content regularly. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment in this video. Talk to me nice. And also make sure you share this video and this channel. And without further ado, I'm going to go right and jump right in. Okay. Let me give a little bit of a disclaimer. Okay. I am not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to give you some information and you choose to do what you want to do with that information. Okay. The next thing is I'm not going to give you any type of advice because I don't know your situation. And what you need to understand is if somebody's not privy to 100% of the information, then no matter how much they care or how good their intentions are, they're going to give information based on the information that they have to make the assessment. And oftentimes when we go to people for advice, we're not telling them the whole story. We're telling them our side of the story, especially if it is something about the story that will make us look in a less than light. We will leave details out, and some of those little minute details could be the determining factor of how a response is given to you about your situation. So I'm big on being in tune with yourself and trusting the abiding inside of you. All right. So today I want to really discuss money. All right. You got a lot of paper chasers out there, people out there chasing the bag, so on and so forth. And I really don't think it's wise for you to get caught up in chasing the bag for a litany of reasons, but you kind of got to go back to over 500 years ago, really, where money really wasn't a thing in terms of being an economy that was predicated on money. All right. You see some very well-off people in this world and they're depressed. And that should tell you that money's not going to heal your depression. Money is not going to make you happy. Money is great to be able to take care of things that need to be taken care of. But after that, and I can tell you this from personal experience, after you do what you need to do with your money, you can go out there and do anything you want with your money. You can buy different types of cars, jewelry, clothes, houses, or whatever the case may be. And it's not going to mean a hill of beans. It's not going to mean a hill of beans. And when you start thinking about, and when you start thinking about everything that you can amass in your life, if you amass a fortune, a huge legacy, who's to say when you give that to whom you're leaving it for, that they are going to do the right things by it and they are going to have good stewardship over what you left them? If you have sons, yes, you've got sons, you talk about legacy and things of that nature. Number one, when you pass away, it's not going to matter. And even if you do everything and calculate everything the way it's supposed to be, and you have an abundance to leave behind to your children, your sons and daughters, here's what's going to happen with your sons. If your son's mentality is not right, they're going to squander the fortune. You can leave a will, and now wills do help, okay? So for instance, you can control your children from the grave with a will, a detailed will to say, hey, you got to make these kind of grades in school to get this. You got to go to college and you got to graduate with this, or you got to go and get your master's degree and do this. or you can't get a felony with this, or you can't, if you get a felony, you're not going to be able to get this, or if you get a misdemeanor, then you'll get this. You can go down the line and you can have, with a will, you can have it any kind of way that you want to have it, and you can truly control things from the grave. But is that going to make you happy controlling things from the grave, even though you can? And I think you should get a will. But what I'm saying is, even if you have your children do what they're supposed to do, and they're controlled by these rules and regulations from your will, the question is, they are who they are, and they're raising the children that they're raising. So if it doesn't squander with their generation, then it squanders with the next generation. See, strong men make easier times, and easier times make weak men, and weak men make hard times, and hard times make strong men. And so it is a vicious cycle. The only way that you can interrupt that cycle from happening is you have to raise strong, grounded men and women. But there's no guarantees that the cycle isn't going to take full circle. So think about you going out there. Let's say you have a game plan. You go out there and you have a job, or you have a business, and you do your due diligence, you save your money, you get into real estate, you get into insurance, you get into a lot of different things, and then you end up creating a massive fortune, okay? And now it's time you pass away, and you got $500 million. If your children are unruly and buck wild, then they're going to run up that tab. They're going to run up that tab because they don't have any experience. They didn't listen. Everything came to them so easy. You work really hard, and you made things really, really good for them. And I'm not saying don't do that, but what I'm saying is you work really hard and you made things really, really good for them, but you never allowed them under your care to earn things. Know what that feels like. I remember when I used to stay with my sister in my latter years in high school. My sister was doing fine, and I thought that I would reap the benefits of doing fine. But living with my sister was like not living with my sister. She didn't give me anything. I used to be miserable about it at the time. I couldn't understand why she had the ability to do something for me and she wouldn't do it for me. But what she was trying to teach me was that you have to go out there and earn it yourself. So I would go and stay with my sisters in the summer times since yay high. And I remember I had a job. I had a full-time job when I was 13. We couldn't work anything but 38 and a half hours. The school board had to give you that permission. In the summertime, you could work 38 and a half hours, but I was working 38 and a half hours, and I had a good job, and I was making good money, and I was taking my sister and my mom and them out to eat, and that swole me with a sense of pride, because if it is different when you go out there and you can't appreciate something that you don't earn. You could be happy if somebody buys you something that you always want. You wanted it. Let's just say the newest video game was out and your parents bought you the newest video game. Well, you could like that. You could be happy, but you won't have the same appreciation for it as if you went out there and you did some work, you made the money, and then you used the money that you made to buy yourself the video game. It's something rewarding about earning something. And so we got to make sure with our children that we are teaching them to earn something, because that will give them the propensity to be able to have appreciation for what's been left for them. And you have to instill and impart the wisdom into your children that these are the things we want you to enjoy the money, but we want you to do the things to keep the money coming in and to make sure that you maintain at minimum. So now, what I'm going to share with you is, oh, before I do that, I also want to say this. And if you have girls like me, you got one generation in your family and then it's over with. So, for instance, me, I have nothing but girls. So, whatever I leave my girls, I'm leaving my girls, and when they get married to a man, then I'm basically, let's just say that my daughter marries a guy named John, okay? And John Jr. is the one she's marrying. And then John Sr. is the father of John Jr. Well, guess what? If John Sr. is a regular by the day kind of guy and he has a son, he's going to have a regular by the day kind of son. Nothing wrong with that. And here's my daughter. She is an heir to everything that I built. Right? So John has this level of money and my daughter has this level of money. Okay, so when they come together, it's all theirs. Right? But John married into a family that had money. And so John is going to be the head of his household. And John is going, and everything that comes through John Jr. and my daughter in terms of children, it's going to end in my family, and it's going to continue with John Sr.'s family. Because John has the son, and the man carries the seed, not the woman. The woman cultivates the seed, but the man carries the seed. This is why I say that men need women to get their to have their visions manifest, because women birth out the seed. All right. So I'm going to read you something, okay? I want to share this with you, and I want to make you aware of why we shouldn't trip on money, okay? Currently, right now, China has told America about Pelosi going over to Taiwan and the ramifications that would ensue if she does it. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why that's not an idle threat. I'm going to tell you why that's not an idle threat. But first, I want to read you something about current foreign ownership of the U.S. debt. So the USA is in tremendous debt. Matter of fact, in the last 6 months, there has been 80% of the currency that's floating around has come from the last 6 months versus since they've been printing money. And the US dollar is not based on silver and gold like it was. US dollars are based on oil. So the leverage lost with oil is if the oil dealers do not want to use the US dollar, then the US dollar being based on nothing will completely and utterly collapse. So you know those videos where you see people flashing money, showing knots? I love when they take that stack of money and then they stick it up to their ear like they talking on it. It looks so cool, right? But here is the reality. Imagine having all of that money and it ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth nothing. Now, I'm going to now read you something, okay? Here it is. It says, now this is, the source is thebalance.com. All right. Here is what it says. In July 2021, Japan owned 1.3 trillion in US treasuries, making it the largest foreign holder of the national debt. The second largest holder is China, which owns $1.1 trillion of US debt. Both Japan and China want to keep the value of the dollar higher than the value of their currency. That helps keep their exports to the U.S. affordable, which helps their economies grow. Despite China's occasional threats to sell its holdings, both countries are happy to be the biggest foreign holders of U.S. debt. China replaced the UK as the second largest foreign holder in 2006 when it increased its holdings to $699 billion. The UK is the third largest holder with 539.5 billion. Its holdings have increased in rank as Brexit continues to weaken its economy. Ireland is next, holding 320 billion. Switzerland, Luxembourg, Cayman Islands, Brazil, Taiwan, and France round out the top 10. Did you hear what 1 and 2 was? Japan and China. Now we have a better relationship with Japan. But here's what happens. China has the ability to default our debt. So what's the collateral for the debt the U.S. has? Us. It's us. So imagine a country not really liking us and deciding to hit the default switch on our debt. And America's not in a position to pay it. What would that mean? I smell free labor. And it's you and me. So you better be careful what you're chasing and understand, yes, we live in a capital-based society and money is necessary, but it is to a degree because it's about sustainment. What do I mean by sustainment? If you have the ability to eat the foods that are good to you, and you have the ability to drink the drinks that are good to you, and you have the ability to be able to have a place to stay, those are the things that you need to sustain. Those are the things that you need to sustain. Now, it's becoming harder and harder in terms of agriculture. It's becoming harder and harder. They don't really want you to grow food. Do you know why? Because the resource getters are miserable. They can go and they can make $1 billion. They can be worth $1 billion. They're trying to get to $2 billion. If they're worth $2 billion, they're trying to get to $4 billion. They are all. It's an insatiable currency grab with these people. And how many houses can you live in? You know, I saw a picture of Jay-Z when he first got into the rap game, and he wasn't worth as much as he is now. And you would see the things that he would buy and the way he would dress, and everything about him looked like a status symbol, from the gold ropes that he used to wear around his neck, so on and so forth. But look at Jay-Z now. Jay-Z's attire looks very simplistic. Do you know why? Because he fought so hard to flex and be a part of the upper echelon. And now that everybody knows he's part of the upper echelon, he doesn't care anymore. And I bet if you asked him some of the things that you think matter, he would tell you doesn't matter. Some of the happiest people on this earth are people who are sustaining. People who, do you know what makes you truly, truly happy? Let me tell you what makes you truly, truly happy. A good relationship with your core family. That's right. If you take a wife, a husband, and you take their children and you put them in a setting where they can be together and create memories, that is the most meaningful thing on this earth. And money can't buy you that. And the elites have found this to be true. They can have a lot of money, but if they don't have great relationships with people and they are alone, they are miserable. Completely miserable. Now, this is why they're trying to tear up our families, especially in the melanated communities like myself. They don't want fathers in the homes. And it's a laundry list of reasons why. How they're so busy trying to convey the propaganda of fathers being unimportant that our women are buying into it. They've been buying into it. Our women have been choosing government assistance over a man in the house, and have a laundry list of reasons why they don't want a man in the house. He can't keep a job. Well, it's not as easy for someone like me to get a job. We do better by starting and running our own businesses. And they know that. So they try to discourage us from running our own businesses. They try to sell us on benefits. They try to sell us on expectations of knowing what's coming. You know that the check is going to be there on Friday. You know what the check is going to be. There is no need to worry. So they try to sell you on those things instead of the self-belief that you got a creation in your heart that could make you much more money. Next, by keeping us down like that, they've taken away, in many cases, they don't want fruit and vegetables to grow everywhere because they want you to pay to eat. Just think about this right now. Imagine if you walk down the street and there were apple trees, orange trees, peach trees, and some of these other types of trees and bushes and fruits, and everywhere you went. When a homeless man or a man that didn't have any food, he wouldn't have to scrounge up money together to go and get him something to eat. He could eat right from the community that he lives in, and it would be plenty enough for everybody. But they don't want that because that stops them from getting their money. Put it like this. Money, let's just use a simple number. Let's just say it costs $50,000, pure $50,000, to be able to take care of the core essentials for your family. If you're able to make more than that, it should really go to one or two things. It should go to investing for the future, and it should go to others that you can reach out to that's in need. This is why I started my foundation, Evolves. Go to www.evolves.world and you'll see more information on that. It's because as great of a country as the United States, there are some decisions that have been made that, to say the least, is a head scratcher. Why? Listen, there is a war going over there in Russia and Ukraine, a war between them, and we're sending money over there, and I am all for helping anyone. But I was always told, before you give anybody anything, at least make sure that you have what you need. Now we're sending money over there, and we've got homeless issues over here that could quickly be solved. If you go to my page, evolves.world, you'll see what our food insecure statistics are, what our homeless statistics are in America. And even with the disenfranchised, like the Black and the Latino communities, you'll see how much of them make up the homeless and make up the hungry. But we can print money and we can send it overseas. We can print money and we can buy into more oil. We can print money and we can go over there and we can ravage Africa. We can do all of these types of things, and yet and still we can't take care of the things that we need to take care of at home. We can't even apologize to the people that we wronged the most in America. We can't even get on TV and give them a national apology. You know why they can't give us a national apology? Because then if they give us a national apology, then the next thing that they would need to do is they would need to give us a gift where we could talk about reparations or whatever the case may be. So that's why we're not getting an apology. We got bills that have been sitting on the desk to be reviewed for policies going way back. There is a reparation bill from 1989, I believe, that is that went to the desk and it's still up there. If it's still up there, it is not for consideration. Meanwhile, when COVID-19 came out, my Asian brothers and sisters were catching it bad. And action was taking place right away. Asian hate crime bill. Not the minority hate crime bill. Do not mess with my Asian brothers and sisters. But it's okay if we hang black people in 2020, 2021, 2022. You're going to learn that, like I said about China, if we keep playing with fire, we may get burned. And so what should you be focusing and concentrating on now instead of money, instead of chasing the bag, getting the bag, securing the bag? What should you be focusing and concentrating on? I know you want me to tell you, but I'm not gonna. What I will say, though, is the U.S. currency the focus of U.S. currency should be to the point of sustainment. But beyond that, you may want to look at some alternative options. And I know cryptocurrency and things like that are down, but you need to do your homework yourself. Not listen to what other people are saying. You need to do your homework yourself. Because what happens when you wake up one day and the U.S. currency is worthless? How are you going to be able to buy and sell? How are you going to be able to trade? So you need to start thinking about that. And everybody's got something to say about things like cryptocurrency or foreign currency. But you, my friend, have to do the due diligence to find out the information for yourself so you can make an executive decision. Every man has to work out their own salvation. And if they don't work out their own salvation, they will not be saved. So you, whether you want to or not, you have to do your due diligence on these things. NFTs, metaverse, cryptocurrencies. You just need to do your homework on those things and then make a decision for yourself and mitigate your risk. If you have a low risk tolerance, you have a low risk tolerance. If you have a medium or a high risk tolerance, then you have a medium or a high risk tolerance. But don't be concerned about what somebody else is doing or how much somebody else is getting. It's about what you're doing. Because when you sit on the sideline, you will be assured that nothing will happen for you. And just with the flick of a switch in terms of defaulting, America can become a third world country like that. And you're going to get tired of these gas prices. You're going to get tired of the food prices. You're going to be tired of the food shortage. You better get stuff together. Do the very best that you can. It may not be what you want to do, but you have to do something. Because we have people in leadership that's not doing a good job. People that we have elected into offices, and then they go into these positions and they have self-interest. They get in there and they get with the bureaucrats and they network, and then they broker deals, and they're getting books, and then they're getting this and they're getting that, and they're taking advantage of the position that they're holding for themselves, but they're not concerned about the people. They will lie to your face and say, hey, listen, if you vote for me, I'll get in office and do this, that, and the other. First of all, they're not saying, when it comes to the most unorganized people in this nation, us, they're not concerned with the things that we want. They don't even concern themselves with that. What they will do is they will come visit us every 2 to 4 years when it's time to for them to get votes, and then they'll say whatever they think you want to hear to get your vote. And then we don't even do our homework, and we don't even unite in terms of voting blocks. See, they need the votes, but because we're not organized, they can lie to us, and we won't do anything but march. Let me tell you where it really, really counts. See, voting matters only when you have economic organization. And we don't have any economic organization. We don't practice group economics. So this may not be what you want to hear. That's why voting doesn't matter for us. Now, it can matter if we organize and we start practicing group economics, but we're not practicing group economics. We can't even begin to practice group economics until we can get our families in order. Until we can get to the point where it's paramount for a mother, for mommy and daddy to be married and live in the same house and grow together and grow the children together. We can't even talk about economics because the foundation of economics is family. The family is the backbone of economics. Do you know like the Dr. Kings of the world and stuff like that, how they were funded? They were funded by the black families. That's why you saw shortly after Martin Luther King passed away, things like graduating from high school and having certifications to do heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and things like that, where you had a trade to go out there and make money, those things start to dissipate. And these are things that you don't pay attention to. Now, all people aren't bad people. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some people in some pretty prestigious positions that can make impact. And they do the bidding of the evil one. Self-interest and things of that nature. And every 2 to 4 years or whatever it is, we gullibly give them our trust. And they just do whatever it is that they want to do. I bet you they wouldn't do that if we had like a progress report clause. Hey, look, you get in the office, 6 weeks, we see how you're doing and what you've been working on. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're out of there. I bet you they changed then. Things like police brutality. I bet you they changed police brutality. They said, hey, listen, if you murder an unarmed black man, your retirement goes to the other family. And you lose your position. people aren't going to do anything until you have in front of them something that's important to them. So going back to, okay, it's 2022. Why isn't, what was it, guy named Rand Paul? He said he didn't want they tried to have an anti-lynching bill, and he didn't want to sign it or something of that nature. So we're in 2022, and you can't see that. Forget that it's African American people or whatever you want to call us. It's just people in general, that anybody, that it would be okay to lynch someone. And you got people in those power positions that still hold those old slave mentality type or slave driving mentality type things. And you're going to sit there and tell me that that's okay? Oh, it's okay. There's a reason. The reason why we can't get bills passed for our benefits, or every time we get something passed, it's always lumped into the minority categories, and everybody else, the alphabet community, Anglo-Saxon women, they get lumped right into that category of minority, and then they're privy to the information, and they take advantage of it and drain all of the resources out of it. And the main one that got the main one that's supposed to benefit from it doesn't get a chance to benefit from it. That's why I'm so glad that we live in an information age, because for so long, so much information was kept from certain people. And now changes, now they can't even do anything about it. They can't even do anything about it. That's why they're trying to open up the middle of the earth. But that's another story. But look, what I'm basically trying to say here is you need to understand that the difference between our Asian brothers and sisters, and shout out to my Asian brothers and sisters. I love you all. But I'm trying to illustrate a point here. Asian people are a commodity. Okay? They have great value wherever they go. And here is the thing. When Asian people were being mistreated here in America, you cannot tell me the underlying tone of it was, if you do not, that countries like China are like, if you do not, if we see the mistreatment of our people, China and Japan, if you mistreat our people in your country, we have the ability to do something to you to break you. Like hitting that default switch. That's all they would have had to do. They probably got plenty of options, but that one knowing switch made that Asian hate crime bill go right through the House, right through the Senate, right to the president's desk. But we can't even get an anti-lynching bill. You know why? Because it's just like, what leverage do we have? What are we going to do? What are we going to do if America doesn't treat us well? Nothing. And instead of us trying to become producers, we're the number one consumers. That's why we have $1.6 billion in spending power every year. And yet $1.6 trillion in spending power, we only own 1/2 of 1% of the United States wealth. Not even 1%, 1/2 of 1%. And it's been that way since we came out of, since the Reconstruction period. Ain't nothing changed. The needle didn't move. Oh my gosh, we have come a long way with racism. We have come a long way. And racism is not people. Racism is a system. A system that, see, the difference between prejudice and racism is everybody's got a prejudice. Prejudice is a preference. Nothing wrong with that. But when your prejudice has systemic power to it to make things go into your favor while oppressing another person or another people, that's racism. That's what we're talking about. So when people say, oh, racism doesn't exist, you're going to redistribute all of that free land that was given away? That during that land grab, You're gonna hit the reset button and give everybody an equal piece of the pie, because until you do that, the system is beneficial to whom it's beneficial for. I'll give you an example, and it ain't even about race. It's about class. 80% is the working class. Okay, when you have child support comes, if you don't pay it, child support will come out of garnished from your wages. Okay, but when you run a business, they can't take out your wages in most cases, in most states. I don't know if it's all states, but the state that I was dealing with, they couldn't take it out from your check because you were running a business. Or when they went to go and review my income, they looked at my Schedule C and not how much money I brought in. And for an example, you can bring in $200,000 and your Schedule C can look like $22,000, and they will base your child support on $22,000. Hello. But any black man can get that, right? Any black man can have his own business, but they're up here with us, and they have us scared and doubting that we can go out there and we can start our own businesses. Heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrician, cybersecurity. These are types of things that you can learn. Schools you sleep on, like ITT Tech Institute or something like that. You could go in there and you could get something meaningful that you could go out there and you can contribute. But they have you tricked to go to these 4-year institutions. And the funny thing about going to these 4-year institutions, I remember that I went to school and I wanted to major in journalism and communication. And the journalism and communication program, I believe at the time, was like 8 or 10 classes. 8 or 10 classes, and you would have your bachelor's degree for that. And then they make you take all of these different classes up until a certain point. You're taking 2, sometimes 3 years of classes that ain't got nothing to do with a degree. These are general electives, and you pay out the you know what for that tuition. And majority of it come from classes that you don't need, and classes that you won't get. And at least these programs like ITT Tech Institute and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be, these trade schools, they get right to the point. But they got you saying, "Oh, you got to be a part of this alumni network." And I mean, it's a crock of crap. And I'm sorry, it just is, because what's the gap? And then you have people who graduate from college, and people don't hire the people that are most qualified. They hire the people that they want to hire. And typically, like I said, going back to prejudice, people like to be around and hire people that walk, talk, think, and look like them. And you can't knock them for that. But they're in a position of power. But you're too scared to go out there and get in your own position of power because you have this disbelief in yourself. Why not get out there and create a company where you can hire people that you want to hire? People that walk, talk, think, act, and look like you. See, but when we have some semblance of doing that, then we're told how we're being discriminatory. You have fighters for the U.S. Constitution. You have fighters for the Bill of Rights. But the origins of those didn't have us in mind. So if the foundation is faulty, no matter what changes happen on top of the foundation is faulty. So if you ever want to see it done right for people like you and me, you cannot subscribe to the system the way that it is. You want, if you're black and you're in corporate America, you're going to fill the system. But if you're black and you get out there and you create something of your own, you don't have to ascribe or feel the system the same way. So don't complain about the system if you are dependent upon the system. Get off of the system and develop some dependency on what's in your heart and the desires in your heart to do. You sitting on a multi-million dollar idea, but you're so scared because you're physically able to do it, but you're too weak to do it. And a lot of times it doesn't even require as much as you think it requires. It requires you to show up on time and do what you're supposed to do daily. That's it. But for some strange reason, the propaganda makes you think that you can't do it. And like I keep saying throughout this video, one flick of the switch by China, and everything will go ape crap for America. They know it. They know they better ball play. And Russia knows this. And Russia's closely trying to align with China. China and Russia would love nothing more than the ship to go down of America. And you keep running around here putting stock into this cash. Get the cash. Take care of the things that you're supposed to take care of, but use it only for what it's used for, and then position yourself so you don't need it. And I can't tell you how to do that because I don't know your skill set and I don't know you. And I wouldn't do something so irresponsible as to telling you what to do, but I am giving you this information. And now that you're armed with the information, you can do your due diligence to expand your research on what I'm saying, because you don't have to believe a darn thing to what I'm saying. But I just gave you the source of what I read you. The fact of the matter is 80% of the debt that is owned by the United States, that 80% of the debt of the United States come from two countries, Japan 1.3 and China 1.1 trillion. Choice is yours. Choice is yours. But we're going to lock it up right there. So thank you for your time. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you comment on this video. Talk to me nice. Okay, we don't need that rude stuff around here. And then if you want to get in touch with me, my email right down in the description, thoughtofleandre@gmail.com for questions or bookings. Now, if you ignorant, you say something ignorant, I ain't going to even listen to you. And if you got that much energy to say something ignorant to somebody that's trying to just give you something that in love, then you got to do your self-evaluation and do some shadow work on yourself too, because you can't project negativity and expect to get anything back in return. But I know it comes with the territory. I'm just telling you that I'm not going to entertain that energy. I just don't have to. And I have other things going on in my life. I don't need to do what I'm doing. And certainly I'm not the only one that's doing it. But I do know that there are certain people that will connect with me. And so I have an assignment, I have an obligation to connect with the people that I'm supposed to connect with while I'm on this earth. And I'm doing this because I want to leave this long after I'm gone. But I'm just telling you in all seriousness, I really just come in love. I come in peace, and I just want to help you. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not for my people and then forget everybody else. That's not how I rock. That's not how I roll. I love all people and I want to help all people. But clearly right now, the most disenfranchised people on this earth is the people that look like me. So that's why I'm really focused on people like me. Okay. But I do help others along the way. But I'm not going to apologize for you people being my priority. That's just the way that it is. So look, man, do the best that you can do. Listen to what's going on inside of your heart and focus and concentrate on reaching and opening yourself up to receive from the divine energy from the highest part of you, your top chakra. and open up everything else, so the divine energy that flows in you. The divine energy that flows in you is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me. And it wants to give you every answer that you have in your life. Stop looking for answers from everybody else and start looking at the answers that's inside of you, because it's there. You just got to clean up the convoluted mess inside of you so that you can free yourself up, so you can be sure that the answer, that the voice you're listening to is the divine energy voice that's trying to lead you into every truth possible. And you know if it's not the right divine, you know if it's not the divine energy that's assisting you, because if you try it and it don't work out, it's not the divine energy. The divine energy is never wrong. All right. So I love you. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna holla. Peace.